So, unless you have been living under a rock, the Halo series released, was it last year or the year before last? I'm pretty sure it was last year. Maybe it was the year before last, and it ended in 2023 as far as season two. I can't remember. I didn't really keep up with it that much as far as the schedule is concerned. So, Halo season two, episode four. I'll say this: episode one, I think when you saw Master Chief fighting the elites, whatever planet they were on, I can't remember. I think part of my issue, the reason I can't remember certain things is because the story deviates from the books, and the books are canon. If you don't know, I believe the first Halo book, The Fall of Reach, came out the same year as Halo 1 Combat Evolved. I'm almost positive that's the case. I might have to look that up. But when you if you've read that story, which is great, I telling you, I think it was Eric Nyland that wrote it. Book you want to read. They deviate in the show from that book in several areas, and the book, the Halo books, run cohesively with the games. This is one of the reasons why I think people who are real, like huge fans of Halo lore, have such an issue with 343 because they really have the keys to the kingdom handed to them. All developers would have to do is read the books. You have great stories. I remember me and my youngest son were talking about this when the Hunt the Truth series, audio series, came out before Halo 5. Yo, I'm not gonna lie. It got me kind of psyched. I was like, yo, okay, this is gonna be fire. It was not fire. Everything you listened to in that audio series, Hunt the Truth, none of it paid off. And I was like, oh my goodness, they had the perfect opportunity to lead that audio series into what was going on with the games, and it didn't. Anyway, season one, episode one, watching Master Chief fight elites in his Mjolnir armor was great. It was really good. Now, season two, episode four, I did not expect to like this initially, and they went a different route. I'll say this. So, in the books, obviously, Master Chief takes off his helmet. Obviously, it's not him in the armor the entire book. For that reason, I understand why they would have Master Chief remove his helmet in the TV series. The problem is, if I'm not mistaken, the creators did not play the games nor read the books. So if all you have if all you have to go by is the games, even if you didn't play them, you would understand, okay, I can't have Master Chief removing his helmet. If you read the books, you would understand, oh, clearly he removes his helmet. I just have to stick to the storyline of the book. And this is the two courses where the show deviates in a way that fans really don't like, myself included. But I will say, if the show started out how they did episode four of season two, I would have been willing to give them a pass. Now, I'm not necessarily a fan of McKee, however you say her name. She's some human that was kidnapped by the Covenant. Of course, humans can activate Forerunner technology. I'm not going to go into all of that if you're not into Halo lore. That would take deep explanation. So somehow they kept her around. She's like celebrated by them. The elites listen to her. You see what I assume to be the Arbiter in this season listening to her commands. It's strange. It was an unnecessary plot device, but I understand if you've never read the books, which I don't know about that. They had to have played the game, be loosely familiar with the premise of Halo, unless somebody just gave them a rough storyboard. Hey, here's Halo. Here's what it's about. Fill in the gaps, which that's possible. Anyway, you see in season two, so there's so much I would have to explain backstory. And I'm not really good at that because I don't remember. Like, I've read these books, I'm very familiar with the story, but my memory's not a steel trap. I don't remember all the details. But Ackerson, who works for Oni, and there's another podcast I watch. I wish I could remember the name. I can't remember it offhand, but they were talking about this. And in the show, they keep calling him ONI. No, it's Oni, the Office of Naval Intelligence. It is Oni. That's what it's called. Nobody who's familiar with the Halo lore calls it ONI, which is kind of strange. I don't know why they did that, but that it makes sense if somebody didn't play the games, read the books, or any of that. They're not familiar. So, long story short, Ackerson knows the Covenant is getting ready to attack. They're already there. They're going to attack Reach. They're going to glass the planet. For whatever reason, he's sneaky. He's a shaky one. He doesn't want to tell anybody, doesn't give anyone warning. And Master Chief knows, and he tries to paint Master Chief as a crazy person. So apparently he took, he benched Silver Team, which in the book was actually Blue Team, if I'm not mistaken. Again, things that they changed that really wasn't necessary to change. And they could have kept Noble Team. They could have kept all the characters from the original Fall of Reach story, which is a great story. It really is. So anyway, but this episode was actually good. If you're gonna change certain things about a story around, this was a way to do it that was at bare minimum entertaining. Now, I'm not saying I'm pleased with the changes, but I'm saying I can recognize this was a well done episode. Master Chief didn't have his armor, neither did any of the other Spartans, because they believe Ackerson took the armor. They're not exactly I'm sure what happened, or that's what they say, but we're not exactly sure. But you see Master Chief fighting elites. You see, I believe it's Kigyar, I believe is the alien species you saw beside the elites in this one. Is it Ungoy? No, I think Ungoy are the grunts. I can't, man, like I said, my memory's not a steel trap. I don't have this stuff committed to memory. I enjoy the series, read the books, but you get all that. Anyway, you see a lot of things in this episode that felt a lot like the Fall of Reach game, with, of course, obviously the plot slightly different, and the Fall of Reach book. And I appreciated that. There was some plot elements that I'm like, okay, my guess is, because if I'm not mistaken, Halsey created another version of the Mjolnir armor, and they got upgrades during the Fall of Reach, if memory serves me correctly. It's been years since I've played the game and read the books. So my assumption is somewhere there on Reach, Halsey has armor, and she's going to guide the Spartans to the armor. Anyway, I said all that to say this episode wasn't terrible. There's some plot points I left out. Go watch it. You may enjoy it. You may not enjoy it. I'm not going to sing its praises. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's great, but it was more enjoyable than I thought it would be. And if this was their first showing, I would have said, okay, I don't understand these changes, but this is decent. I get it.